Conversations Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I'm Elvira Bianchi, and I'm super excited to be the new host and a little bit honored as well, to be honest. Before we start, I'd like to introduce myself. I am an Italian certified translator and interpreter. I am based in Melbourne. Originally, I'm from Switzerland, though. And currently, I'm a PhD candidate at RMIT University, where I'm researching the communication between schools and non-English speaking families. I also have teaching experience at RMIT University, and currently, I am a member of the OSCE Victoria Branch Committee. I hope that in the future I'll get to talk about my research a little bit, but for the meantime, let's focus on what we have planned for today. So in the past, this podcast has been home to some amazing conversations thanks to the former host, Fatih Karakas, and it feels only right that my very first guest is the person who started it all. So he's recently taken on a new role at NAATI, and today we're catching up with him to hear about his journey, what's next, and maybe get a few tips from a seasoned pro. Let's jump right in. Hello, Fatih. Welcome.
Hello, Elvira. Thank you very much.
Now, you'll all remember Fatih, but I think nonetheless he deserves a proper introduction. So here it goes. Fatih is a NAATI certified Turkish interpreter and translator. He has extensive experience as an examiner, a trainer, and a curriculum designer. He holds a master's degree in translation and interpreting, and he also has teaching experience at RMIT University and the University of New South Wales. He used to be the head of training and translations at All Graduate, but as I mentioned before, he's now stepped into a new position at NAATI. So first of all, congratulations on your new job. Are you enjoying the challenge?
Thank you very much, Elvira. Yes, I'm loving it, actually.
That's good.
It's definitely challenging, but something that I love doing.
So what can you tell us about your new position?
Ooh, so much to tell.
What is your role?
All right, so the role is called Project Manager, supporting the profession. It is a position that was created just recently, and I'm here to support the profession. So,
Oh, well, I mean, you've always been involved in projects supporting the industry and the profession. So was it tailored for you? It sounds like it was.
oh, I don't think it was tailored for me, but when I saw the job ad, I was like, wow, I definitely want to go for this. And it was definitely something that I was super interested in, and I was lucky enough to get through the interviews, and here I am.
What exactly does it entail?
Our profession had some challenges and has some challenges still. The main issues were recertification numbers and certification numbers. The recertification is not purely based on, what kind of support the practitioners have or not. There's more than one reason for people not recertifying, and some of that has to do with the remuneration and the work issues that they might have within regards to pay. And the sustainability of the profession. Not much I can do about that directly, but what we are doing at the moment is just finding more ways to support the practitioners in recertifying. For example, collaborating with associations to provide more PD. That would be either free PD or heavily subsidized PD. So in talks with some associations within that regard, trying to also resource some PD to put onto NAATI Learn. We had worked with OSIT, for example, and All Graduates, Next PD as well last year, particularly to put some PD, free PD on NAATI Learn. So some of those things will keep happening to make sure that PD is accessible for our practitioners to recertify. Another thing we're doing in that area is we're looking at revising the whole recertification process and the PD catalog, which hasn't been done for a while. I don't think it has been done since it was first introduced. So NAATI, with collaboration with NZSTI and ASLETA, sent out a survey to Auslan practitioners in New Zealand, as well as practitioners here in Australia. And we sent out a survey and got feedback pretty much from our practitioners on their thoughts about the recertification process and the PD catalogue itself. We had about 700-800 or so people reply, give us feedback, which, thinking that it went to around 10,000 people or so, wasn't a huge percentage, but still gave us quite a lot of data to work with. So now we have a working group that has members from NZSTI, ASLETA, AUSIT, and some NAATI staff as well. And we are working together with the feedback from the survey, which will actually basis of our working group. We are working very closely now to revise the recertification process and the PD catalogue. We've had a couple of meetings and it's looking really good. I think we're going to have a better simplified process and a more simplified and accessible PD catalogue, and hopefully that's going to support our practitioners with their recertification. We're thinking about doing things, more communication, more webinars and workshops about recertification, just, regular drop-in sessions to help people recertify, answer their questions and so on. That's happening in the short term. It won't take too long. Hopefully by the end of the year, we will have a new revised recertification process and PD catalogue.
How substantial do you predict that these changes are going to be? Do you think the actual process is still going to be similar and it's just the items on the catalogs that will change, or is the actual process that's going to change substantially?
No, we're looking at changing the entire process as well, just making it more automated if we can, utilizing technology more, hopefully if we can, integrating with other PD providers for automations. I think the entire process will have quite a different face. It won't be just the PD catalogue. The whole process hopefully will be much more simplified and accessible.
And what about recertification time? Will it still be the 3 years as it is now, or are you looking at making that longer?
The general consensus at the moment within the working group is to stick to the 3 year. We think that it is long enough for people to make sure that, their knowledge and skills are still up to date. But, we're still in progress of meeting with the working group. So I don't know for sure yet, but that's the current chat.
And requirements-wise, the amount of work required to recertify and of PD will also...
TBA.
Okay.
TBA. I don't want to say anything that hasn't been confirmed yet, but at the moment we are talking about the whole process. And like I said, our entire basis is from the feedback from the survey. Almost everyone on the panel is also a practitioner, so they bring their own experiences and pain points as well, and as well as the other feedback that we have received and recommendations we've received from the hundreds of people who have taken the survey.
But these are all things that you're looking at the very least, all of this.
Absolutely. We are in the process now of meeting. So we'll have a few more meetings and then we'll probably start the process of putting everything into work. We'll run a pilot process as well, and then hopefully we'll launch it before the end of the year.
So, and you were speaking about offering support to the practitioners. Is that direct support to the practitioners as well on how to recertify?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We are thinking of having regular workshops, regular information sessions, so people can come in and ask their questions. We can point them to the right direction. I'm even thinking about holding workshops where, one-on-one, we can have like a 1-hour session with a practitioner who is really struggling still to recertify. And, we'll sit down with them and go through their PD and work requirements and everything and hold their hand through the process and hopefully recertify them.
That sounds great. Like you said before, there's other issues that our practitioners face, and you obviously can't help with all of them. But is there any other projects that your new role involves that you're going to bring forward to support the industry and the practitioners?
Yeah, absolutely. So recertification numbers was one of them, and also looking at certification numbers too. So we're looking at things like pass rates at the moment for the NAATI test, and we'd like them to be higher. It is quite a high stakes test, but I think we can still support the candidates sitting the test. So we're currently working on a CPI preparation course. We actually ran this with NextBD last year as a little course with the NAATI chair now with Magdalena Rowan, and it was quite successful. It was an 8-week course. With NAATI, we're going to turn it into a 9-week course, and it's just going to really break down the rubric and teach candidates on how the test works, what examiners are looking for, how they can work on their skills, and we are also putting about 3 hours of weekly practice, so lots of dialogue practice to get them prepared for the test. So especially for candidates who aren't able to access tertiary education, whether it be for reasons that their language is not available, or whether they simply don't have the time or can't afford to go and do a tertiary course, whether it be at TAFE level or at the higher education level. If you're eligible to sit the test, you will now have access to preparation materials. So this year we're going to start with the CPI and hopefully get that up and going. And then next year I'm going to look at the certified interpreter test as well and see if we can support our practitioners upskilling from CPI to CI if their test is available, and provide practice material, preparation courses again to get them better prepared for the certified interpreter test.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that not everybody who goes through training to become an interpreter goes on to actually work in the field. Is that right?
Well, they come out of their training and then they have to sit the NAATI test, and those that are successful go on to practice. Those that aren't successful, I guess, those that can and those that want to, they can keep sitting the test. We just see a little bit of a gap between the training and the testing at the moment, and hopefully we can fill that training gap, help with the certification numbers. But it's not just about the training candidates coming out of training. If you're already holding an RPI or you've got a CPI and you're eligible to sit the test, you don't necessarily have to go through formal training. You're already eligible through your experience and practice. And those people, they don't really have anywhere to go to for preparation. So it's also to provide some support for them as well.
So amongst the people that have previous training in universities, can you see a higher number of people who pass the NAATI exam if they had previous training?
Look, it changes from institution to institution, but generally, overall speaking, I think certification numbers could do with being higher.
In general, yes.
Yeah, just in general. I don't want to go into the specifics of institutions, but just in general, we just want to look at increasing the pass rate and how we can support the candidates in that regard too.
Mm-hmm. And do you think the low pass rate is a lack of training in general?
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't want to really comment about that. There's a lot of great institutions out there doing great work, but if there is some kind of a training gap as well, we're here to support the institutions too. But sometimes even when they come out of the training and their test date is maybe months and months later, some languages are tested more often than others, and that could be an issue as well, where you've graduated and then you've got another 6-7 months to sit your test. And this way, if these preparation courses are available, you might be able to do a little bit of a refresher before you sit your test.
And you said you've done this last year already. Did you see a success with your first course? Was it successful?
Yeah, look, last year we had a small group. We had 7 candidates sit the test. From my knowledge so far, all of them have passed. So it's a pretty good percentage. So
And who are these training courses going to be available to?
Well, anyone that's eligible. At the moment, we're looking at the CPI level, and hopefully next year, like I said, it will be the CI level. So pretty much anyone with an RPI who is willing to sit the test, or they must sit the test, because if you have an RPI and your test is available, you have to sit the test to be able to continue practicing. So yes, for anyone who is eligible to sit the CPI test, basically.
Of course, that's great news that it was successful. Do you think what do you think makes it so successful? What is the trick in this course?
Oh, look, I think it's just breaking the rubric down. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, sometimes candidates, even though there's a lot of information out there, probably hiding behind a few clicks, even something as simple as the rubric, I think it's important to break it down for the candidates. So I think that helps getting them to understand each skill, and the kind of techniques that are required for each of those skills. So really breaking it down and getting them to understand for each skill what is required. And then I think the biggest key is just having the practice. So we're looking at having 9 weeks of practice, 3 hours a week on different domains, and just putting those skills into practice, like interactional management, application of interpreting modes, your delivery skills, language skills, meaning transfer skills, and just really practicing for 9 weeks and turning it into second nature, I think is the key.
Absolutely. And you've mentioned before that you want to make more PD opportunities available to every practitioners, also or even the ones that have already certified. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What kind of PD are you looking at?
So NAATI Learn is our learning management system. It's available for free for everyone to create an account, and log in and have a look at the PD available there. So we have things there like the CPI preparation modules for those sitting the test or wanting to sit the test. We also have other PD opportunities there with other organizations. So for example, the NARI mindset study that has been put on as a pilot initially, and then it was put into practice as well, and it was there to train interpreters, particularly in dementia settings. And that was something, privilege of working with Bianca Brijnath, with her. Took a few years to get that up and going, and the training now lives free of charge on the NAATI Learn platform. So that's a way we are supporting by hosting training on there, collaborating with other institutions like NARI. Again, we worked with AUSIT last year to put some of their webinar recordings on the NAATI Learn platform, and also NextPD and all graduates as well, to put some of their webinars on there. So we'll look at producing some of our own, working mostly with professional associations, like AUSIT, like NZSTI, and so on, or ASLETA, to see how we can collaborate to make PD more accessible for those that need the financial support within that regard. We've received a lot of feedback again in the survey, saying, especially for interpreters and translators in low demand languages where they don't have a lot of income coming from their practice, they wanted more accessible PD in ways of either free PD or subsidized PD. So hopefully, like I said, working with institutions like AUSIT, NZSTI, to be able to create more PD together that's more accessible.
Well, it sure sounds like you've got your hands full there at NAATI.
It's there is not a dull day,
That's
Elvira,
great.
let me just say.
So you're trying to boost the workforce by retaining the existing practitioners and by recruiting new ones. Is there anything, as final words for this episode today, is there anything you would say to encourage people to join or remain in our industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, look, 2025 is going to be a big year for us practitioners, as you and I are practicing interpreters and translators as well. Look, there's a lot of talk about, I can't comment too much on it, but there's an LSP endorsement model now that is being discussed. And I think there's some information out there about that. I'm not involved in that process, so I wouldn't be able to give you much detail about that. So, that has started being talked about. There is, over the last year or two, there has been a lot of chats with governments and governments. People like Ali Mond, we've been working very closely with, and she's very supportive of the profession. So, I think there's going to be a lot of positive changes over this year and next year as well. So I'm actually very excited for our profession. I know that it's been stuck in a bit of a situation for the last few years, but I think now is the time for all of us to just get in there and just believe in what we do. And I don't think the interpreting, translating profession is going anywhere. And I think we just need to support it better in any way that we can. And I think there's definitely work being done in the background as well to make sure that the support is there for the working side of things as well and for the pay side of things as well. So I'm excited to see what's going to be happening over the next couple of years.
That's good. So am I, actually. And thank you for supporting our profession. We wish you the best in your new role. And
thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Congratulations to you. What
Thank
an
you.
amazing switch of roles here.
Well, big shoes to fill.
No. Look, they are size 12, but but no, you're going to be amazing. I'm really glad that you're on the other side of the camera, and thank you very much for inviting me to be your first guest. It's an amazing thing, the podcast. I've enjoyed hosting it for the last 5 years. I met some amazing people who've then become friends over time.
Thank you so much. We'll talk to you again soon then. Thank you, Fatih.
Conversations Podcast.